right, perfect. We'll go ahead and get started. Again, thank you so much for joining this month's session of the Bold Insights Gathering. The topic is SIMS, tips, tricks, and support. Okay, and we do have a special presenter here that I will be introducing here just in a few moments. Our next session is going to be on October the 16th. The Bold Insights Gathering, it's going to be hosted by Dan Reynolds, who's our Vice President of Operations for the Bold Group. He's going to introduce our newly updated service level agreements on our next session. As I stated before, this session is being recorded. It will be delivered to your email on tomorrow to all registered participants today. We will also post it into the BIG or the Bold Insights Gathering file in the Bold U library as well. So you'll have access to it via the web as well. There are no attachments or documentations attached to this session here. We will have a couple of poll questions throughout, so be on the lookout for those as Sarah's going along today. If you have not yet signed up for Bold U, if your company doesn't have a login to it, all you have to do is to go to learn.boldgroup.com and complete the form to request access. All customers do receive a complimentary access to the Bold U's Level 1 content for the entire organization simply by registering. So more information about that, just go to learn.boldgroup.com. Now, on with the webinar. It is my pleasure to introduce to you today Sarah Whitmire of our SIMS team. Sarah not only has an in-depth knowledge of the SIMS product, she also has worked in a monitoring center that uses SIMS as well. Her experience helps her assist you, our customers, with understanding and compassion. Thanks for joining us today, Sarah. The floor is now yours. I'll turn the controls over to you.
Thank you very much, Bryant. Good morning, everybody. I am glad to be here today. I am actually up in the Bold Group corporate office in Colorado Springs. So my throat may be a little bit dry, so I'll have to make sure I drink plenty of water. I am glad to welcome you to the Bold Insights Gathering for September 2019. Today we're going to be discussing troubleshooting and how the information that you give us, your technical support team, can help you get your problem solved more quickly and more efficiently. We're going to go over ways to gather information to give to us so that we can help you more quickly and efficiently. Troubleshooting, how to help us help you. In this section, I will be discussing the information that you can gather before contacting us for assistance to get more efficient service so that we have more time dedicated directly to helping you rather than trying to get the back end information. This may include something as simple as a description of the issue, ways to duplicate that issue, and anything else that may have changed in the central station. We know your time is valuable, and we want to make sure that we get you back up and running and or solve your problem as quickly as we can. The first step that we're going to do to solving your problem is to determine what kind of issue you're having, whether it's an issue with data, software, hardware, or it may be something else entirely. Let's go ahead and start checking some points to see if we can isolate what category your issue might belong in. Data entry. One of the major issues that I personally have seen, and I've seen across the board, that can instigate a call into technical support is a way that the data is entered either through the automation software or directly through the software itself, the client. If a signal is received by the automation software, which in this instance would be SIMS Receiver 3, and it's incorrectly put into the account, then the signal is not going to be interpreted correctly, so it will not be handled correctly. For instance, if you have a fire alarm that is not entered correctly, it may come up as a trouble rather than an alarm, which could be a life safety issue. It could be something as simple as the data not being input into the account at all, or it's input incorrectly. If it is put in the account correctly, then the data coming directly from the panel may not be programmed correctly. That itself can be found out by checking the raw data that's coming from the receiver, either through the receiver log or through the console log, for example, with SureGuard 3. If it's an issue with the signals coming from the receiver correctly, this can be either handled by the technician reprogramming the signal in the field, or it might be something that could actually be handled and redirected by the programmer, or something simple that can be changed in the automation program. In SIMS 3 for Windows, we have an option that's called Analyze Zone. And if a signal comes in with the incorrect definition, this is one way that you can check and find out where that definition came from that wrote through to the history on the account. To get to this feature, you go to File and Status, and then you click on the Analyze Zone tab. Then you'll enter the full account number, receiver, so the two-line receiver, two-digit receiver, two-digit line, and 4 to 6 or however many account digits you have in the account number. Then you enter the account zone exactly as it came into, exactly as it came into the history on the account. Then you'll hit Analyze to get the results. Once you've hit that, the information for the definition of the zone will be presented. So in this example, the definition for my account 01-01-0001, it came in from the zone account, which is 9801-0001. It came in on zone number E602, wildcarded, which there's no zone restore zone, and this is zone position 449 in the list on the zone account. We have the description as a periodic test report, and it's an event type PTS, and it also tells you if this particular zone is being emailed or if it is not being emailed. Okay. So next what we're going to talk about is looking at the raw data. So if we're going to pull logs directly from SIMS 3 receiver server. So if we're looking at the raw data, it might also help us determine where an issue with the signal may originate. To go to the data logs within SIMS 3 receiver, you're going to go to Report, View Logs to view the log directly. This, if you look then at the top of the File Explorer, it will show you the path so that if we request those logs, or then you can pull that and email it to us, or if we have to get them directly to pull that, we are able to access that. Because it is a simple text document, this log can be opened in Notepad++, and data pertaining to a specific port, account number, or time can be isolated and pulled out to make it easier for troubleshooting. That way we can either test further on site or at the SIMS office. Okay, so an issue with software itself. So I have a picture here of system failure, but this may just be as simple as a specific piece of the software not working. So if you have a SIMS product, whether it's SIMS 3 for Windows, SIMS 3 receiver software, any of ours that stopped responding or is having issues processing, one of the first things we're probably going to ask you is, have you stopped and restarted the program? So simple as closing it either directly from it, or if it's got a Windows failure message on there, going into Task Manager and restarting it, and or if you have rebooted the computer or server that the software is on. There are many times that this in and of itself can resolve the issue. Okay. If that has already been done and the issue does persist, then this will save time when you're contacting the tech support team. You can say, oh yes, I've already closed it. I had to go in through Task Manager because it was completely non-responsive. Okay. Your tech support team is going to need as many details as possible when you contact them. The date, the time, the type of error or issue that has occurred. Okay. So I'd like to take a quick break, Bryant, and if we can go ahead and do that first poll question, please.
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and launch that first poll question, and there's no questions so far, so we're good. And there we go.
Okay, so the first question we have is, what might your technical support representative ask you if you've done in order to help rule out an issue with your software? So we're going to ask you have you closed and reopened the program? Have you sent out for food? Have you rebooted the computer? So I'll give you a few seconds to go ahead and respond to the poll.
Okay, perfect. About halfway there. 50% has voted. Just a few more moments here.
Give you about 10 more seconds.
Yeah. All right, I'll close and launch the results there. Close and reopen. All right, so we have the poll results there for you, Sarah. Close and reopen was 100%, and sent out for food 0%, and reboot the computer was 25%. So I'll go ahead and hide the results and turn it back over to you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and remember, if you do have questions, go ahead and put them on your control panel on the right side, and Bryant can pop in and tell me if we have a question or if you have anything in particular. As always, if you have any questions after the meeting, you can reach out and send me an email directly or send it to our office. Okay, so let's go ahead and go on to one of the next things that we will, many times that we check if you've had problems and we've said, oh, we need to check the data log, okay? It is often an invaluable tool that we use when we're checking for issues. If an issue has occurred, then we might either ask you to send us a copy of the data log if we don't have direct access into your system, or we may log in and retrieve it for ourselves. This will tell us specifically, the one I have an example of up here, it has, when a SIMS 3 was opened and information about the machine. But there may be errors on it if there's a problem with one of the receivers. If there's an error running a report, it's likely going to write directly to the data log. So this can be accessed from SIMS 3 by going to File and Log Viewer. In Flat File, it's going to show the current day of information, okay? And it's just a text file that saves to the network drive. So if you're on n:/sims2, that's where it's going to be located. And it's also accessible to go into the network drive. So for today, it would be simsdata.log or a dated file, example 09-16-2019.log. So if you say, oh, I had a problem and it was on Sunday, so we would go in and pull the log for Sunday so we can then reference that. In SQL, as you can see on my example, there is a date range, a begin and end time, which has a drop down to pick from a calendar. So if we were looking for a reoccurring thing over several days, we would be able to actually click that begin time and change it, and then hit refresh, and then this exports in a CSV file, and that can be sent to tech support. The data log can also be directly pulled from the SQL server by going to the SIMS data table, and we can then isolate it using a specific query to show certain days or a certain computer, something like that, that we are needing to go back and reference. Program status is another feature within SIMS 3, or actually it is available in all of our products, I correct myself, where it will show the console output. So first of all, it shows you basic information about the program itself, the dot framework that it's using, and the serial number that it's tied to. It will show different processing as you're going along, but this is a tool that allows us to help further assist you if an issue is coming up from one of our SIM software products. If there's something that's not working within the program or an error that's generating, that will possibly write to this console output. So if you're trying to duplicate something, have this open and do the steps or whatever you have that was erroring out. And if it creates an error, then that can be sent to us, which is then given to our developers to further help them. So to open this, you go to File, Status, and then try to duplicate your issue again. In most of our products, it is going to be under File and Status. And then, as you can see here, there are multiple tabs. So here you would go to Console Output. Duplicating an issue. We have a customer that calls me or sends me an email and says, it's not working. Okay. First thing I'm going to say is, what exactly is not working? Is it the product itself? So is Sims 3 not launching? Is a report not working? Are you getting an error? The more details, more information that can be told to us, the easier it is going to be for us to try to help fix the problem quickly, okay? If you have the steps available that caused or created the error issue, then that helps us. Because if we can say, because maybe something is supposed to work a certain way, it's supposed to go A to B to C. Well, you call me and say, this is not working. And I say, okay, let me try to duplicate it here. You know, you've explained what's going on. And I say, okay, I did this, I did A, I did B, I did C. And you say, whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, I do it A, B, D, C. Well, there's the issue right there, is it should work doing A, B, D, C, but it doesn't currently. So let's see if we can get that fixed, okay? Being able to give us the steps to duplicate your issue is going to help us try to duplicate it at our site, okay? If we can duplicate it, the programmer should be able to fix it, okay? For example, I had a customer call me a couple of weeks ago, said, I have a specific report that's not working, and it worked before we did our updates. So I went through the steps with the customer, was able to see that, correct, it is not working, it's not processing, and it was creating an error in the data log. I was able to duplicate it at our site and give it to the developers to fix. And this customer was able to say, okay, it worked last week, we updated, now it doesn't work. So then we were able to isolate that between this date and, you know, August and September, say 15th, that the change was made that created that issue. So it was easier also for our developers. They're not having to go down a rabbit hole to try to figure out what happened. Okay. One of the things that we're going to try to verify and make sure is that all Windows updates, program updates, and SQL updates are done on the system that is being checked. Okay. And no, my computer is not currently updating. That's just a picture I took. It is difficult for us to diagnose an issue sometimes if a program or an OS has not been updated on a regular basis. If we go in and you say, I'm having a problem with XYZ, and we're thinking, well, that was a problem, but I know it's been fixed. Is it a problem again? And we go in and we look, and the Sims program has not been updated in 6 months. Well, at that point, we've got to update the program and see if it's still a problem or if it just your program had not been updated, okay? Sims programs are updated with requests as well as functionality on a regular basis, including what links directly in with Windows. So it includes .NET. If there is an issue that we find or we are told that, oh, we ran our Windows updates now, and now this is not working, and we have it reported from multiple customers, okay, now we need to look into see where there's a disconnect, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and take another quick break. Bryant, let's go ahead and go to the second poll question.
Okay, sounds good. Let's launch that second one here, and all right, launching it now. It should be on the screen.
Okay, so which of the following can be an influence on how your Sims products function? Temperature within the central station, changes to the network, or the Sims program not being open after a computer reboot?
All right, about 50% has voted so far. Just a few more moments, almost 100%. All right, I'm going to close the poll and launch the results here.
Okay.
And there we go. So temperature within the central station, 0%, changes to the network, 83%. And the SIMS program not being open after a computer reboot, 67%.
Very good. Yes, and both of those things can affect how your SIMS products function. Okay. All right, so are we ready to go further, Bryant? All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is issues with hardware. Okay, one of the other causes of issues within a central station has to do with hardware, cable or network connections, disk failure, phone issues, etc. If you've had any changes within the central station, such as changing out a serial cable, updating the phone system, that needs to be advised to us as well to eliminate that as a cause of an issue. Because if you say, oh, well, it was working fine, or I moved this computer, well, we're going to ask you to check all of your connections, because it may be something as simple as a loose cable. It may be, if you changed your phone system, maybe we need to, make sure that there's compatibility. Okay. Changes, and I'm sure, I know when I put this up, I started singing the song in my head, the David Bowie song, Changes. This can affect us in many ways, whether it's new hardware that you've gotten, updates done to the computer. If you call me and say, all of a sudden, it's not working, I'm going to ask you, what changed? And you say, oh, well, we did this, we updated this, something happened, whether you changed something to the network, something like that. And at that point, we can start to eliminate or include that as the problem, what's causing the problem. Okay, and lastly, miscellaneous, different network, a program's closed, you've updated your firewall. Many times changes internally to the network have caused interaction issues with the SIMS product. Firewall changes themselves or updates can cause communication issues, can block access to the SIMS products from outside. So if you updated your network and you didn't whitelist the email, the addresses, or for your iServer or SIMS web, you call and say, oh, well, it's not working, but we put in this new thing. Okay, fix that, make sure that we have that. Or we go in, well, we just changed this and all of a sudden this receiver is not working. Well, if we go and we check the port and it's closed, that needs to be addressed. And because all of our SIMS products, except for one, which is SIMS Web 4, are apps, not services, they must be open in order to function. For example, if a scheduled report, you call me and say, nobody's gotten their reports today. We're going to check, or I'm going to ask you to check to make sure FormWriter 3 is up and running. If it's up, running, generating the reports, then they're not going out. We're going to check COM Server 3. I've seen many times where it's something as simple as a product not being restarted after a computer is rebooted. We're not getting I'm not getting my emails that my backups are going to SIMS. We go in, the computer was rebooted, SIMS Expert was not restarted. It's not set to automatically launch after a reboot, okay? As well as, like I mentioned briefly before, Windows updates. If Windows updates were done and then all of a sudden something's not working, okay, let's see what we can isolate maybe that is causing this, okay? Something as simple as that. If nobody has any questions, we're going to go ahead and then just wrap this up, in which I'll get y'all out of here in 30 minutes instead of an hour. So we covered today the kinds of issues that might be brought to us, what information and data that can be provided to your technical support team. And this doesn't just apply to SIMS. This can apply to any type of software, data management, anything like this. Hopefully these tools will help you going forward so that you can, I know when I have to call my internet provider. I'll call them and say, I've already rebooted the router. I've already reset the ONT. This is what had to be done last time. Can y'all try that? Just to help eliminate me having to be on the phone for an hour because they're going through all the steps. Okay. I really hope this will help you with if an issue comes up and it needs to be sent over to technical support. I do thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to helping you in the future.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And just a quick reminder as everyone is logging out that this is recorded. You'll get that email with the link to the recording on tomorrow. Again, Sarah, great job. Thank you so much for doing that. And talk to you next month.